All right, welcome to another episode of the 010 podcast. I think I say that every time we start,
Yeah,
which,
good
yeah,
morning.
good morning. Here we are, talking about hydration today. So,
As I'm
first off, what are
hydrating.
you drinking?
Well, right now, I was drinking some warm tea this morning, but I just switched to chicken broth because I really need to do a day. I need to give my body a minute to relax because I've just been out of control. And I think we were talking earlier about, I mean, it's 16 degrees right now in Hazen, which is gross, which is gross. I mean, and I know it was almost 70 yesterday, but still, I mean, I think that up and down, we've talked about it before. I do not think this is good for our bodies. I really don't. I think so. Anyway, I've been eating
Right.
horribly lately. Like I think I had 3 brownies for dinner last night.
Okay,
That wasn't it.
got
That
it.
wasn't all.
Not black bean brownies, I'm guessing.
No, no. They were just right from the box, crappy brownies, but they were so good.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I haven't eaten a brownie like that. But anyway, um, it's just tis the season. I don't know, like you're still looking for comfort foods when it's cold. It's cold. It's been cold still, even though it's been warm. There's some kind of chill with the spring air, right? And but anyway, so yeah, today I'm gonna give my digestive system a total break and I'm gonna do just some chicken broth and tea all day and we'll
Mm.
see. But soup maybe later, I don't know.
Sounds nice. I'm actually on a similar path, other than this is my third day. Not of no food, but I've went to just fruits and vegetables and beans here for a while. Kind of the Daniel fast. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I have.
Yeah, I'm working through that. So I am drinking coffee, but it's decaf coffee. So I've eliminated all my caffeine. Just not that it's all bad, but every once in a while I need to do that.
Yeah.
I need to just give my dopamine receptors some time to reset and my gut to reset and everything. So adding that much fiber has been interesting though. So speaking of
Really?
hydration, oh yeah, I've been just looking pregnant for a while. I actually thought that I'm like, oh, someone might think I'm actually pregnant today. Just because, yeah, my tummy gets really distended as I make some changes like that. Doesn't handle change that well. My guts.
Baby. Okay, well, okay, so this is just maybe dorky, but do you ever just let that belly hang? Like, I
I
remember from a
can't help it.
very young age being taught to suck in your belly, suck it in all the time, suck it in. There are days where I'm just like, I'm just gonna let it
Like
hang.
fall. Yeah.
Just let it out. Let's let it. Yeah.
Yep, totally. It's super healthy
Yeah.
for you. I talk about that a lot. I definitely, every high school girl that comes into my space, we talk about that. Not that they all do it, but I just make sure that they know, like, you gotta let your tummy fall.
Yeah. Right. Because that's funny you say that because I did read something, I don't remember specifically, you probably know. It's not good for you to suck that in all the time. Why is that?
Horrible. Well, a couple things. Your diaphragm isn't
Diaphragm.
able to push down into the digestive tract. So you're holding
Yeah.
that tight. When you're holding that tight, you're also probably holding your pelvic floor tight. So it eliminates all the flow. And just think about your viscera, your visceral organs, like everything below the ribs, like all of that is just this movement that's like happening down there. But if you just put it,
Supposed to.
supposed to, but as soon as you put a
Yeah.
grip on it, like a physical grip on it, it doesn't do that. It can't do that.
Yeah.
So, definitely breathing is the big piece there, breathing into your tummy. And we get really weak pelvic floors then. If we're not breathing into our pelvic floor, then it's tight and weak. That's something to remember too. A tight muscle is not a strong muscle. So, us ladies,
Interesting.
especially, and it's actually men too, with impotence, with erectile dysfunction, like all those things. Um,
Sorry, my
yeah,
dog.
you're good. Hey, Deuce.
He always likes to wander to places he can't go when I'm distracted by
Oh,
Dr.
got it.
Josie.
He knows.
He knows.
Yes. So
So
yeah,
what are you sipping on this morning? Oh, you said decaf coffee. Anything
yeah, I
else?
have some decaf coffee right now. I'm a tea drinker, so I'll
Hmm.
be drinking a lot of. It's also gloomy here, so it'll be a tea kind of day.
Yeah.
Tea and probably hang inside. I've got a chiropractic appointment, and then yeah, I I'm coaching, so I coach on Thursdays. So I have a long day to get through before I still need to have all my oomph by 7 p.m. because that's what time we coach, because that's when people can actually hop on a call. So
Sure.
I'm like, I have to be very conscious of these days because 7 p.m. I'm done typically. Like I want my PJs on and my
Yes. Yeah.
like a book in my hand. So
And don't you find that that when you can focus on hydration and when you can stay properly hydrated all day, that 7 p.m. hits and you're still feeling like I feel like for me it makes a huge difference.
huge.
Yeah. And so, and when I'm just gonna bring this up right away because we're talking about warm liquids this morning. We've brought up tea and coffee and chicken broth. And recently I came across a video. They were talking about, I'm sure it had to do with, I'm sure it was traditional Chinese medicine, I'm pretty sure. But they were talking about how small sips of warm water all day long open up the tissue of the body, soften the tissue of the body so that it can actually absorb what we're drinking properly. Because a lot of times, and it probably ties into really what you just said too, like when we're tight, when we're tight, when we're holding things tight all the time, and it just my mind just was racing through all that, right? Because then is that why it just goes right through you? Why is it not absorbing? Why are we not absorbing? And then, I think of like I've heard a lot about salt and a lot about electrolytes and like what how do you navigate through all that? For years they told us cold water. Now I'm hearing warm. Then it was room temperature. And I went switching to that for me was a game changer. I don't drink cold water ever anymore. But now I'm reading about and hearing about warm and hot water and what it can do for you. And I've switched to that a couple months ago. And again, it's been a game changer.
Yeah.
I love the warm and the hot water. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like what you said, like the being tense. So there's, yeah, opening up your fascia and then hydrating it, right? So if we're drinking and we're tight, which cold water would totally, like, what do
It's
you
what it
do
does.
when you're cold? You pull
Yeah.
everything in, right? So yeah, that would make total sense that it wouldn't absorb as well. You may feel like you got some, like you wetted your palate, or
Mhm.
you feel full or whatever, like that piece of the water, but you might be just peeing it right out. Um, I think that's we have a really hard time with when our bodies are tense, which is from your nervous system, right? So you're tensing up, and it is always that way. And then when we're trying to all of a sudden drink a gallon of water, because that's what everyone's saying to do is to drink all this water. I mean, it's a lot of effort without any reward because you're really not, the point of the water is to get in your cells, and it's just, you're not there yet. So yeah, doing the things to calm yourself down, not chugging a bunch of it, just like little sips, and just, it's like coaxing. It's like petting a little kitten, like just really nice and soft and compassionate. Drinking water compassionately.
That's a whole nother spin on it. I've never thought about it that
I,
way. But
I didn't
but it's
either
the
until it
truth.
just came out of my mouth.
It's just there it was. It's great. Um, do you think I brought up this. Okay, let's start with, okay, how do you properly hydrate? I don't know. Again, you've got the scientific background, but I only know what I feel and the things that I've changed and what difference that I've noticed. But Celtic salt is a big one for a while, or the Baja Gold or whatever. So what are your minerals? So minerals, like we don't have minerals. That is a fact. We don't have minerals in our soil anymore, and that's how we used to get minerals in our diet through our fruits and vegetables and things from the soil. We don't have that anymore. That's not a myth. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So how do we get the proper minerals? How do we choose? There's so many things on the market right now. It's just flooded with electrolytes and, like
Yeah.
powders and gels and like how do we choose the right thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly not the best. I don't, not the best person probably to ask this because I haven't done any research on it other than I just take supplements that I trust. I know the people that make them. Like I really do the research on what I take. But when somebody brings another one into me or something, it's like I don't know, because
Right.
there's I mean there's a lot of trust that has to happen in it. I think if we're talking minerals in general, then minerals work in ratios more than they work in an amount. So if you have, for example, like some of the minerals are calcium, magnesium, um, potassium, like these big minerals like that. So that's what we're talking here. So if there's the minerals work as like moving water in and out of cells and also moving any waste, any nutrients, like they just like carry things along, and that's how things move in and out of the cell. So it matters ratio more than it matters like the amount that you're taking, so that because they all need to work together. So if somebody has a blood test and it's like, oh, I have low calcium, and then they just supplement with calcium, well, that's not necessarily the whole picture, because you're not absorbing calcium, because most likely you've got something else that's off kilter on the other side, and it's not allowing the calcium in. So, um, the whole picture is, I think, what's most important when it comes to minerals, on deciding what you need and how it all works together, which can get really complicated. Once again, right? Can get really
Yeah.
complicated. Um, I used to be a multivitamin girl, and I don't really do multivitamins anymore. I do organic fruits and green powder. But that was my choice, I guess, on that I would rather have the powder than the multi. But can I tell you that my minerals are spot on? I don't know. Actually, I don't actually know. I haven't done a hair mineral analysis test in a long time. I'm not sure.
No, but do you think, well, I mean, being that I touch skin every day, I can tell when people are dehydrated just
Yeah.
by touching their skin.
Yeah.
But personally, have you ever felt to yourself, I feel dehydrated?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and what are the signs? Yeah. Or like what, like for
Um,
me,
yeah.
you do feel it in your skin.
Mm-hmm.
But also like I'll get headaches or like this, I'll get like some dull aching in my, if and then I'm like, oh crap, I can feel I need some hydration, or like my eyes get dry even.
Mm-hmm. I'd say
Yeah,
dry mouth, like in a way, like it's
yeah,
almost like it's not dry like sandpapery. It's like
yeah.
thick or
Cottony,
something.
cotton
Yeah,
mouth.
cottony. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, Constipation, it's a big one.
Yeah.
And honestly, swelling, which I know it doesn't really make sense, but
Mhm.
if you're retaining water a bunch, then your body's keeping it rather than letting it go for a reason. It needs to know that there's more coming.
Yeah.
I think that's important. Some people talk about like achy joints and stuff, which it would. So your fascia is, when there's fluid in it, it's nice and soft and supple. Dehydration makes it tight, pressing against the tissues. So you can get um, sore hips and knees and all that kind of thing. But back to the Celtic salt, that's a earthy mineral, right? Can't go wrong, in my opinion.
I agree.
I
And
don't. I
I've
didn't know
noticed
the
when
other
I
one.
added, what's that?
I didn't know the other one that you said.
The Baja Gold. Yeah, I've been hearing about that too.
Okay.
I think it's a brand name. But I've got so much Celtic salt built up that, um, but I think you have to be careful with it too. I mean, you can't, it's not like you're just gonna sit and throw salt on everything. Um,
Yeah,
my
because then
understanding,
it's the ratio, like I talked
right,
about. It'll
right.
it'll mess that
Just
up.
just little pinches, just even a couple grains of it, when you drink.
Yeah.
Um, do you believe in the whole concept of a gallon a day?
No,
No,
there's
I
no
don't either.
way our ancestors were getting a gallon of
No,
water a day.
no, no.
And gosh, that could even be more toxic if you've got crappy water.
Can't it be toxic no matter what? Because I mean, and again, I don't understand the science of it always, but like it dilutes your kidneys, right? Like it can, isn't that something that can happen too? You get too much water, you're diluting instead of um aiding.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a flush, but I think there's an efficient flush to happen, right? Like I don't a gallon of okay, I for a gallon of water, I'm gonna say for me would be horrible. You're 7 foot tall, big dude, probably could handle that, but at
Right,
my stature, no, right? So
right,
there's a there's a piece to that. And there are days that you just need to realize, hey, I sweated a bunch today, or I was in the heat a lot today. You need more water that day than
right,
days that you're not. So
right,
you have to really just like you're what you've got is the best is that you feel it. And that's what I think is the most important thing is understanding like how you feel versus like what science even says to do sometimes.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I've seen that out there where people are saying now, like, if you're thirsty, drink.
Oh, 100%.
It's that simple. Like, you don't have to measure how much you're drinking every day. You don't, you just, if you're thirsty, have something to drink. And if you're not thirsty, then don't drink. You know,
Yeah, I don't know about that one, I guess. I mean, that's a sign. Unless people are recognizing they're thirsty. I don't know if people would recognize they're thirsty.
yeah, you're right. That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
point
Would
too.
they?
That's a good point. I find that people that drink a lot of caffeine tend to be dehydrated. And again, I'm taking that from the point of their skin. So
Yeah.
when I'm touching people's skin, and they're severely, like to me, they must be systemically dehydrated because of how their skin is. Um,
Hmm.
first thing I ask them is if they drink caffeine or if
Yeah.
they smoke,
So
because almost always people that are like, oh yeah, I drink Diet Coke all day. I'm like, well, I can see it in their skin. I can.
hmm well, and Diet Coke versus I listened to something on the coffee piece of that. Diet Coke versus coffee, like
Coffee.
big difference in
Yes.
that like it was will coffee hydrate you? And they were
Oh,
trying, going back and forth because, I grew like what I learned was that it dehydrates you. It actually does not hydrate you at all. And now they're saying the opposite. It's not saying that it's super hydrating, but it's liquid. It's going to move like liquid. So there is hydration there.
it's water.
It's water,
It's
so
water.
it's like it's one of those things like, is it better to drink coffee all day or none or type of thing? And I
Hmm.
was like, it's fluid, right? But there is what caffeine does. It's not in tea, it does it too, like caffeinated tea. What I understand, it makes it more like a diuretic where
Yeah.
you like it, which is what your kidneys would connect with as a diuretic, meaning you're just going to pee more of it out, but you're still hydrating. So you can't think you're not hydrating.
Right.
Something like that along those lines. So we know how this about food. All of a sudden it's good, then it's bad. Then
Right.
it's
Right.
wake up at 4 a.m. every morning. No, wake up when you need to. And like it's just
Yeah.
all these things. So many
Yeah.
fads in health and wellness. But you kind of hit it on the head with just do what makes you actually feel good.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be truthful to yourself about that, not what you think you need, like what's truthful, which
Yeah.
is that's the big game right there to figure out.
Are you a Gatorade drinker? No. No, me either. But I did once upon a time in my life, I ran a half marathon and I was not a Gatorade drinker ever. I don't ever drink it, but I will say I don't even remember what mile it was, but I was petering out and they gave me Gatorade and I'm telling you, it just perked me right up. So I don't know if it was the sugar or the electrolytes or a combination of both.
Oh,
Um,
probably all of it. Yeah, you're just
yeah,
depleted in everything.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I'd been drinking water, throughout the whole race. I've been getting water, but I was like, I try something different, and it just, yeah, it perked me right up. So,
I can see.
um, but I don't choose to drink Gatorade for hydration.
Mm-mm. I'll do electrolytes. I do like the element ones so far. Have been my favorite ones. If I'm looking I don't always like drinking just plain water.
Yeah.
I'm that person. I'm working on it, but I end up wanting some either lemon. I've been using lemon because I'm on this Daniel fast now, so it's like nothing, right? So I'm using lemon in my water and stuff like that. Just because I don't know, it helps me
Mhm.
drink more of it. And I'm saying more as in like I'm thirsty and I don't want to drink that water because I don't want it, so I'm gonna have an apple instead. Like honestly, that's what would happen, right? So um, anyway, I do use some electrolytes from time to time. I think you can overdo it, and I as well, and I think um, moderation. I don't know, moderation, everything.
Yeah,
A lot of those electrolytes out there are just junk. So
yeah,
and they're sugar. I mean, in one way, shape, or form, however
yeah,
they want to hide it. Um,
yeah.
so be careful of that. And we had a gal on, Dr. Mariah Dwyer. Is that right?
Oh,
Or Dwyer?
Maria Dwyer. Yeah,
Maria Dwyer.
yeah,
And she had talked about that, on how important that is to give your mouth a break from sweeteners or anything like that. So if you're drinking on electrolytes all day long, like how much not just affects your teeth, but I think it's your microbiome too. Like
yeah,
I can see the whole thing being a huge problem. So
yeah.
being careful of that. Giving yourself a break of nothing throughout the day, or water only or whatever.
Right. That's so funny you say that because I have an electrolyte that I use too. It's from the Nectar brand, and supposedly organic and all the things, whatever. But I like it, and but I only will do one a day if that. Um, but talking about how it's all crap, like you do, it is crazy how we just trust when they tell us that something is good for us, right? And we just are like, oh, I'm going to buy this collagen supplement and I'm going to buy this electrolyte supplement and I'm going to buy this protein supplement and that's going to take care of it. But and to me again, it's a supplement for a reason because it's supplementing what you're already doing. It's not supposed to replace something.
Right.
Um so yeah, drinking these packets all day long, that like I would hope that most people understand that that's not good. It's a supplement. It's something you would do once a day or so, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Again, depending on what you're doing. If you're training for a marathon, like
right.
do what your body
Maybe.
needs to supplement that extra work that you're putting on it, right? Um, if you're going through a stressful time, this is a big piece. If you're going, like, that you're a little bit more stressed than normal, like it's very important you're getting your electrolytes in and your minerals in.
Yeah.
Because your body has a very natural, it's innately pulling minerals from your tissues to calm it down because it's very important that it's calm so that you can see a threat and live. Like it's just how we're built, right? So it's going to protect the brain and nervous system at all costs. And if you're going through stress, then your body will pull minerals from your bones, from your muscles, from your heart. So we need to make sure
Yeah.
we're replenishing that during those
What
times.
I've heard this common theme in my industry for a while. Um, the two, I mean, and it's a general statement, but dehydration and inflammation are really the two. If you can hydrate and make sure that you're not inflamed, you you're good. You're good to go. Like those are the two biggest signs of age, two biggest indicators of aging and disease and
Mm,
things.
I
Would you
like
agree
that.
with that?
How simple.
It
How
really, I
simple
think,
and how complicated. I mean,
I know.
I get it's all those things, but it's like, yeah, systemic inflammation is a huge, huge problem. And it's not that you can just take all the turmeric in the world or anti-inflammatories and it's going to go away. Like that's not the case. But if you measure those markers on yourself, like you can you can feel pretty confident in how your body's functioning. I'm not saying it's always perfect, right? But
Right.
I think, yeah, if you can feel those things, like, and you feel that, right? You feel dehydration, you feel inflammation, like.
Yeah, you
But
do.
what I find very interesting is when somebody decides to start working on some of this stuff and you start healing, healing is inflammation. So being okay with
Yeah.
it as well, right? Like
Yeah.
letting it do its thing and actually heal up. The problem is when we have inflammation that's scattered and like controlled. It's like doesn't know what to do, and our immune system's all funky and can't handle it. But that's when autoimmune stuff comes in. But yeah, like initial inflammation, like I hope that I get inflamed every once in a while and my body decides to heal my knee or my ankle or my eyes or whatever, you know? It's very important.
Right, it's an indicator. And instead of trying to um, you know,
Numb it,
control
make it
it,
go away.
you
Yeah.
need to right, ask yourself what's going on. I just had a client the other day that was telling me they were going to do a study and they were going to potentially, do get on something. And not it wasn't a medication, but anyway, I don't want to get too much into it. But I all I said to her, because I try to be very careful, but what I say to people when it's their time for an appointment. But I just said, I'm just going to challenge you to say, if this study comes back to say that, yes, you're a candidate for this particular device, maybe instead of just going on the device, you should question, what is it about my body that's needing this device, right? And I think that's something we're kind of missing. Obviously, we're missing it in our medical system, but I think just as humans, even, right? What's missing? What can we do? What's our body trying to tell us? Because that's at the end of the day, our body is always communicating to us,
Mhm.
and when we're dehydrated, it's going to communicate in some way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
gosh. No, hydration will help a lot of things.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's like it's one of those foundational pieces of health and being, you know. It's like we forget about the basics sometimes.
Yeah,
Just coming down to the basics of it.
we haven't talked
We should
about
talk about water at some point, but
what's that? Well,
I don't
I
know
was just
the
going to say
answer.
water quality. Is that what you were going to
Yes,
say?
I don't know
Yeah,
the answer though. I
I
don't know the
know.
answer. So maybe in a later podcast we can chat
Yeah,
about that because I do want to dive down that at this point. I do not handle spearfish water well, and some people might, but right now I've noticed that if there's any water I want to stay away from, it's for some reason I don't want to drink this one. It's just doesn't, yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
so what do you do? Because like to me, I'm not going to drink bottled water. I'm not
no.
anymore. Like I've chosen to stay away from all plastic water. So what do
I'm
you
gonna
do?
laugh.
Like,
I honestly thought of looking up springs in the Black Hills to see if I
yeah,
could go fill up some
yeah,
some canteen, you know,
yeah,
whatever. But I
yep,
don't know if I will end up making that happen. But I don't know. I do need to go down that route and look at some stuff. Some people like my family, they all use the osmosis water, and it's not that I don't like yeah, it cleans everything out, but everything's gone. So then I don't
right,
know how to remineralize it properly every
right,
time. And that includes like what you're cooking with and everything, right? Like
right,
it's
right.
all demineralized then. So, yeah, I don't know the right answer yet. It's been on my list to research though, so maybe I'll get on that.
Well, I say go find a spring. My sister lives in Michigan and she used to live in this really great community in this just outside the community. So it was like a 10-minute drive. A gentleman had in his front yard, he had um, a pump that and it was spring water and he just had it for anybody you could come and pump. So we'd go fill up, whatever
Yeah, I'm
we
trying to think,
had,
right,
we'd
what you
fill
would
it
fill
up
up now.
and then we'd have this glorious spring water to drink. And it was just to this day the best water I've ever drank, so good.
And I have to go like do a little research, like
Yeah.
explore around here. There's got to be one.
Yeah.
But
Find one, build a well.
well, and that, you know, I grew up on well water, and it's funny like how now they do osmosis water out there because there was some toxicity in the water, right? I don't know how that's happening. Like all of our wells are going crappy. Like they really like my grandma's is the same. They're a separate
I mean,
well. I don't
I'm
know the
such
answer.
look up, look at what they're putting in our air, look at what they're putting on our plants, look at what they're putting, and I mean I don't know who I mean by they, but it's every, like
It's not me.
there's nothing, there's, we're surrounded by it. So yeah, I don't know. But you also can't live in that space either, where I choose not to just live in that space of constantly thinking about all the things that are bad for us.
Yeah, no, I agree.
No.
I agree. But if anyone knows of a spring in Spearfish area, let me know. We'll go
Yeah.
grab some water together.
That would be awesome. What
All
are we
right.
missing? Are we missing anything as we're talking about hydration? Little sips. I like the whole little sips thing. That's been a game changer for me too. I used to you'd gut like I grab, just grab and start guzzling, and it's like um I don't know, that never served me. So the sips all day have been good.
Yeah, I will say I still go and end up grabbing because when I get myself too thirsty, right, I will chug a bunch of water. Again, not efficient, but it's like I feel like I needed the wetness of it more than probably anything else. Um, but yeah, no, I'm a sipper now too. I think the desk work and also like seeing patients and stuff, it would just sit there next to I didn't have time to drink water, big guzzles of it. So that that did start to shift. I didn't think about that, but that did start to shift when I started doing that. Because otherwise, I would just chug. I'd have like a 5 minute break or whatever, and I would just put down a big old, cup of water and then go about my day. Never really drinking very much in the
Mhm.
grand scheme of things for how much running around I was doing. But no, I'm definitely a sipper now. I will say though, if I have something next to me, I may sip on it, but I do get it down. Like it's not like I don't sip on one like if I've got a water bottle or something next to me, it doesn't last like forever. I If I've got water next to me, I sip on it, take drinks of water. I don't guzzle it, but it goes away. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when I'm driving or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Recording will stop in 2 minutes. Did you see that?
yeah, that's the fireflies stuff.
Oh,
My note
okay.
taker.
Well, either way, I think we've done a good job with hydration. And if anybody has any really great tips or tricks,
Yeah.
um, put it in the comments or whatever. Shoot us a
If
message.
anyone has some good water or
Good spring water.
spring water or like they like their system that they've got, please share
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
I'm curious what everyone's using.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.